Briefing on December 7, 2024. Subject: the impeachment crisis of the South Korean president and its impact on the U.S. real estate market. 1. South Korean presidential impeachment crisis. Tens of thousands of South Koreans gathered outside the National Assembly demanding the resignation of President Yoon Suk-yeol. Although the impeachment motion ultimately failed to pass, protests continue. This political crisis stemmed from the president's announcement of martial law last week, which sparked a strong backlash from the public. Many have stated they will continue to participate in weekend rallies until the president steps down. Supporters of the president also gathered in a major square in Seoul, criticizing the opposition leader as a communist and claiming the president is defending the country from communist threats. 2. Climate risks facing the U.S. real estate market. Research shows that properties at risk of flooding are generally overvalued by at least $187 billion. Certain properties in the Appalachian and Louisiana coastal regions are overvalued by more than 10%. Federally backed mortgages are expected to incur about $190 billion in flood losses over the next 30 years. This does not include risks from wildfires and droughts. Banks are becoming more cautious in lending in flood-prone areas, but government-backed real estate companies have not formally incorporated climate risks into their loan assessments. This could threaten the liquidity of the real estate market. In summary, the South Korean presidential impeachment crisis has triggered widespread public protests, while the U.S. real estate market faces increasingly severe climate change risks, both of which warrant close attention. Briefing. 1. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol announced martial law but faced opposition from the National Assembly and was forced to retract it. Nonetheless, his ruling party continues to support him, and the impeachment motion failed to pass. This has led to widespread public protests demanding Yoon's resignation. 2. Paraguay has decided to halt its anti-drug cooperation with the United States, which will severely undermine U.S. efforts to combat drug crime. This decision may be aimed at protecting high-ranking politicians involved in drug trafficking. 3. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz lost in the vice presidential race, but stated that it was a valuable experience that allowed him to see different parts of America. He will now refocus on his work in Minnesota. Overall, these articles reflect issues of political turmoil, corruption, and challenges in international cooperation. They highlight significant themes such as the abuse of power by leaders, public protests, and obstacles to cooperation between nations. These issues deserve attention and further exploration. Financial Times briefing on December 7, 2024. 1. Financial Times digital subscription offer. 4 weeks for just $1, then $75 per month, cancel anytime. Provides comprehensive digital access to high-quality Financial Times news, expert commentary, and analysis on any device. 2. Berry Brothers and Rudd, a historic wine merchant in London. With over 300 years of history, it supplies wines to notable figures including Byron and Churchill. The newly opened wine shop offers over 1,000 products, including rare whiskeys and tequilas. The shop regularly hosts tasting events, featuring spiced ginger liqueur and nut pies during the Christmas season. 3. Justerini and Brooks Wine Merchants. Located in Burlington Arcade, it offers a selection of fine wines and whiskeys in an elegant setting. The first floor features a tasting bar for various wine tastings. The basement showcases rare whiskeys from Diageo. 4. Heaton Wines, Mayfield. The Christmas window displays are creatively designed, and the interior is visually striking. Offers a variety of rare wines and Japanese whiskeys, with regular tasting events. The bar, the White Horse, provides a 30-pound corkage service. In summary, these historic London wine merchants offer a vibrant shopping and tasting experience during the Christmas season, showcasing the charm of British wine culture. Briefing content. 1. The Observer newspaper will be sold to Tortoise Media, a decision approved by the Scott Trust and the Guardian Media Group board. 2. Key conditions of the deal include the Scott Trust becoming one of the main shareholders of Tortoise Media and having seats on the editorial and commercial boards, Tortoise Media committing to inject £25 million into The Observer and pledging to uphold its journalistic independence and liberal values. 3. The sale aims to provide the necessary funding and expertise for The Observer's future development, enabling it to succeed in its digital transformation, while also allowing the Guardian Group to focus on its globalization strategy. 4. The Scott Trust stated that this marks a new chapter in The Observer's history, ensuring that this 233-year-old newspaper can continue to deliver excellent liberal journalism to its readers, both online and offline. 5. This transaction reflects the challenges currently facing the UK news industry, which needs to seek innovative business models to sustain high-quality journalism. The Guardian and The Observer are adopting different strategies to address these challenges. Overall, this transaction aims to inject new momentum into The Observer's future development while demonstrating the Scott Trust's commitment to journalistic freedom and independence. It represents an important initiative for the Guardian Group in its digital transformation. Briefing content. December 7, 2024. Subject: The stories behind news reporting. The Times series Understanding Your Era reveals the arduous journey behind news reporting. The reports emphasize that news often involves matters that some would prefer to keep hidden. These independently produced shorts showcase the efforts, struggles, and courage of journalists in pursuit of truth, facing death threats, legal disputes, and a steadfast commitment to integrity. These real stories are as compelling as thrillers, highlighting the determination of the Times and the Sunday Times to report the truth despite challenges. Another report mentions that despite repeated statements from the White House that President Biden would not pardon his son Hunter, a presidential pardon was ultimately announced on December 1. The report notes that the soon-to-be outgoing president claims Hunter faced selective and unfair prosecution. Additionally, the largest music festival in Hong Kong, Clockenflap 2024, has sparked some controversy, including inappropriate behavior from attendees and some overseas performers confusing Hong Kong with other East Asian cultures. This has raised concerns about Hong Kong's image. Briefing on December 7, 2024. Subject: The Telegraph reports. Key information points. 1. The UK Department for Transport has established an expert group to assess the impact of 20 miles per hour speed limit zones. Group members include professors who participated in Extinction Rebellion protests and former cycling commissioners for the West Midlands. 2. A 4-year-old boy was killed by a bus in the West Midlands, prompting police to call for witnesses to provide dashcam footage. 3. Writer Stephen Fry discussed his life experiences, including being expelled from school, drug issues, criticism for singing off-key, and later overcoming cancer. 4. Latest Premier League results: Brentford defeated Newcastle 4-2, Aston Villa won 1-0 against Southampton, and Manchester City drew 2-2 with Crystal Palace. In summary, this issue of The Telegraph covers various fields, including traffic management, public safety, celebrity interviews, and sports events, providing a rich and diverse array of content. The reports highlight valuable information points, such as the establishment of an expert group by government departments to assess policies, a tragic traffic accident, and insights from celebrities, offering readers a comprehensive news perspective. The article is well structured, with prominent information points, making it worth reading. Briefing on December 7, 2024. French political turmoil. The French National Assembly passed a vote of no confidence against Prime Minister Michel Barnier and his cabinet with 331 votes, plunging the government into a new round of political turmoil and hindering the passage of a new budget. This marks the first successful vote of no confidence in over 60 years of the Fifth Republic, making Barnier's newly formed government the shortest serving in history. This political turmoil occurs during a challenging period for France, facing high debt, an expanding deficit, and 2 years of economic stagnation. France's strong support for Ukraine may also be challenged by the newly elected US President Trump. Meanwhile, France's main European partner, Germany, is also politically and economically weaker than in previous years. In summary, France's political landscape is in turmoil, with the government facing numerous internal and external challenges, and the future remains uncertain. Briefing content. Subject: Youth employment prospects in Latin America. Key information points. 1. By 2030, 70% of youth in Latin America will be employed in the service sector, which will severely impact agriculture and manufacturing. 2. This shift is driven by factors such as technology, demographics, and the environment, which may provide short-term job opportunities but could exacerbate employment instability and urban overconcentration in the medium term without public policy support. 3. In the next 5 years, only 10% of youth will work in rural areas. 1.2 million youth will leave agriculture, 640,000 will exit manufacturing, and 1.8 million will enter the service sector. 4. This trend intensifies internal migration within the region, with climate disasters exacerbating the issue. 5. Employment instability among youth is a long-standing issue, with 20% of workers aged 15 to 29 earning below the poverty line and 37% earning below the minimum wage. 6. Experts are calling on governments to focus on formalizing youth employment, creating quality technical and sustainable energy jobs, narrowing gender gaps, improving labor information systems, and investing in education and training. In summary, youth employment prospects in Latin America are grim, with the rise of the service sector severely impacting agriculture and manufacturing, exacerbating internal migration and employment instability. Experts urge governments to implement targeted public policies to promote sustainable youth employment development. Briefing. Germany's choice: a new standard for consumer trust. 1. Consumers generally distrust online reviews, with over half believing that more than 50% of online reviews are fake. Different consumers also have significant subjective differences in their evaluations of products. 2. To address this issue, the Germany's Choice Award is evaluated by real consumers, implemented by the research institute and market research company Innofact under the Süddeutsche Zeitung, providing a highly credible and independent quality certification. 3. The award covers various products, providing consumers with reliable purchasing guides, including children's backpacks, gardening fertilizers, etc. Starting from the 2023 to 24 fiscal year, ratings will use a school grading system from 1 to 6. 4. The Süddeutsche Zeitung also offers various secure and reliable information reporting channels, including the SecureDrop encrypted communication system, PGP encrypted emails, and encrypted instant messaging, ensuring the privacy and security of information sources. In summary, the Germany's Choice Award provides consumers with a trustworthy product evaluation standard, while the Süddeutsche Zeitung has established various secure information reporting channels, reflecting its high regard for consumer rights and press freedom. Below is a briefing summarizing the core content of multiple articles provided. China Daily Briefing, December 7, 2024. 1. The South Korean opposition Democratic Party vows to continue pushing for the impeachment of President Yoon Suk-yeol, despite the initial motion being rejected due to a lack of quorum. Democratic Party leader Lee Jae-myung stated they would spare no effort to impeach Yoon. 2. The Tea House Preservation Project in Shuangliu District, Chengdu, Sichuan Province, China, received an Excellence Award at the 2024 UNESCO Asia-Pacific Cultural Heritage Conservation Awards. The project aims to address structural safety issues while preserving original building materials and craftsmanship, and to carry on and develop local tea culture. 3. China is adjusting its policies to respond to the uncertain relationship with U.S. President-elect Trump, including offering manufacturers a 20% made-in-China price discount when selling products to the Chinese government. This is a move ahead of the upcoming annual Economic Work Conference. 4. Renowned French actress Isabelle Huppert recently visited Beijing, making her debut at the National Grand Theatre in Tennessee Williams' classic play, The Glass Menagerie. Huppert believes the play explores the fragility of dreams and relationships, reflecting the playwright's own experiences. 5. China has once again imposed sanctions on U.S. defense companies, prohibiting them from conducting business in China and restricting executives' entry into the country. Analysts believe these sanctions are mainly symbolic, as U.S. defense companies are already limited by the U.S. government from conducting significant business in China. In summary, this issue of China Daily covers important information across multiple fields, including South Korean politics, China's cultural heritage preservation, adjustments in China's economic policies, Sino-French cultural exchanges, and military confrontations between China and the US, providing rich and comprehensive content worthy of attention. Briefing on December 7, 2024. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol survived an impeachment motion led by the opposition in the National Assembly, which stemmed from his brief attempt to impose martial law this week. Members of Yoon's ruling party resisted the vote, resulting in the number of votes falling short of the 200-person quorum. Analysts suggest that Yoon's imposition of martial law aimed to demonstrate through force that the opposition gained a majority in the elections through illegal means. Security camera footage shows the military entering the headquarters of the National Election Commission on Tuesday night and filming the server room. This indicates that the Election Commission was a primary target of the military action. Meanwhile, Syrian opposition forces claim to have taken control of the southern city of Dara, the birthplace of the 2011 uprising. The opposition also claims to be nearing the center of Homs, which would cut off the connection between Damascus and the Alawite-controlled areas. This rapid offensive has put the Syrian government in a life-and-death situation. On the other hand, Nanao City in Ishikawa Prefecture held a fireworks display to comfort victims of the 2007 Noto Peninsula earthquake and wish for the area's swift recovery. This event received support from the Fireworks Festival Foundation in Nagaoka City, Niigata Prefecture, reflecting mutual assistance between different regions. In summary, this briefing covers significant issues such as the political turmoil in South Korea, the deteriorating situation in the Syrian civil war, and the reconstruction efforts in disaster-stricken areas of Japan, highlighting key information while succinctly summarizing the overall content. Briefing on December 7, 2024. 1. The flower cake-making craft in the Hida region of Gifu Prefecture, Japan, is at its annual peak. About 10 artisans are busy decorating branches with red and white rice cakes about 1 centimeter in size, creating traditional decorations that will be shipped to Tokyo, Osaka, and Nagoya for sale by December 25. 2. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol's attempt to impose martial law has triggered a political crisis. The opposition proposed an impeachment motion, but it failed to pass due to insufficient support. Yoon subsequently publicly apologized, but his leadership has been severely damaged, raising doubts about his ability to complete his term. 3. Japan's largest steel manufacturer, Nippon Steel, is acquiring an American steel company for $15 billion to expand its business in India, Southeast Asia, and the US. This deal has faced opposition from American unions, but Nippon Steel has pledged not to lay off workers or close plants, promising nearly $1 billion in economic benefits for the local area. 4. In recent years, thefts of agricultural products in Japan have surged, affecting high-value crops such as rice, green peppers, and grapes. Farmers are enhancing security measures, but still struggle to deter thieves. 5. Renowned Japanese actress and singer Miho Nakayama was found dead in her bathtub at home in Tokyo on December 6, at the age of 54. She had won multiple Japanese film and television awards for her work, including the 1995 film Love Letter. In summary, this briefing encompasses important information across various aspects, including traditional Japanese crafts, political turmoil in South Korea, mergers in Japan's steel industry, agricultural product thefts, and the passing of a famous artist, providing a rich and informative overview for readers. Below is a briefing summarizing the core content of multiple articles provided. Briefing on December 7, 2024. 1. The Australian government has proposed a new bill to designate technology giants engaging in anti-competitive behaviour or abusing market power, requiring them to comply with special rules or face hefty fines. This bill aims to prevent tech giants from monopolizing the market, limiting their ability to charge high fees on platforms like app stores and blocking competitors from entering. 2. An alternative therapy practitioner has been sentenced to 10 years in prison for manslaughter. This individual encouraged a 71-year-old female participant at a week-long seminar in Wiltshire, England, to stop taking insulin and use tapping therapy for treatment, leading to her death. This tapping therapy lacks scientific basis but remains popular worldwide. 3. Australian cricketer Travis Head criticised Indian fast bowler Mohammad Siraj for his aggressive celebration after Head's dismissal, accusing Indian players of being overly intense in their celebrations. This has heightened tensions between the two teams, foreshadowing an intense Border-Gavaskar series. 4. Senior Australian footballer Tamika Yallop urged her teammate Sam Kerr to take her time recovering after knee reconstruction surgery and not rush back to the field, emphasizing that her long-term health is more important. In summary, these articles cover various topics, including the Australian government's new anti-monopoly bill, a case of alternative therapy leading to death, tensions between the Australian and Indian cricket teams, and injury issues among Australian women's football players. These insights reflect the latest developments in technology regulation, medical safety, and sports competition in Australia. Briefing content. On December 7, 2024, Canadian politics faces new challenges. Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre is trying to navigate the uncertainties brought about by Trump's election as U.S. president, which tests his political focus. The article notes that Poilievre has been pushing the Trudeau government to address housing and other living cost issues for the past 2 years, with the Conservative Party leading in polls. However, Trump's election has changed the dynamics, and Poilievre no longer controls the narrative. Experts believe Poilievre needs to learn when to use a baseball bat versus a scalpel, reflecting his political maturity and leadership. The article also discusses the concept of femicide in Canada, with many advocates calling for its inclusion in the criminal code to better address violence against women and girls. Although progress has been slow, some local police have begun using this term in public reports. Additionally, the article mentions a food price forecast report, predicting that a family of 4 will see an increase of $800 in food expenses by 2025. This is primarily due to climate change, labor challenges, new policies, and geopolitical events. The report suggests that consumers may need to adjust their purchasing habits, and the government should pay more attention to food issues to provide more affordable options for the public. In summary, these articles reflect the new challenges Canada faces in political, social, and economic domains, requiring collaborative efforts from the government and the public. Briefing on December 7, 2024. Subject: the escalation of conflict between Israel and Lebanon. On December 2, 2024, Israel launched its largest airstrike against Lebanon since the ceasefire agreement took effect, resulting in the deaths of 11 civilians. This marks the first attack by Hezbollah against Israeli forces since the ceasefire was established. Both sides accuse each other of violating the ceasefire agreement, and Israeli airstrikes continue. The ceasefire took effect on November 26, 2024, but was violated on November 28. U.S. senior official Amos Hochstein has proposed a ceasefire agreement, while EU Foreign Policy Chief Borrell stated that they are awaiting Israel's final approval. Changes in the situation in Syria. Syrian opposition forces have rapidly advanced in a week, capturing the city of Hama, marking the fastest battlefield progress for the rebels since the outbreak of the civil war 13 years ago. The fall of Hama severely impacts Syrian President Bashar al-Assad and his allies in Russia and Iran. The rebels claim they will continue to advance south toward Homs. The capture of Hama by the rebels could cut off the connection between Damascus and the coastal regions, representing a significant blow to the Assad regime. Premier League update. Liverpool will face Everton away on December 9, marking Liverpool's last derby at Goodison Park. Liverpool currently leads the standings by 7 points over the second-placed team, while Everton sits in 15th place. Everton's coach Dyche stated that the team needs to perform excellently again to tackle this tough match.